We are tracking breaking news this morning. Spokane police are investigating this scene after a body was found on East-South Riverton Avenue this morning. This is just into our newsroom over the past 20 minutes or so. According to Spokane police, a man has been found dead on the 1600 block of East-South Riverton. You are taking a live look at that scene right now as police officers continue to take a closer look at that scene. Right now, South Riverton is closed from Magnolia to Mission, and as you can see, our crew is on scene right now. And you can keep an eye here on Up with KREM throughout the morning. We will bring you the latest information as it is made available. But just a quick recap. Police are investigating a reported dead body in this area, and we will keep you updated if there's any changes to this ongoing situation. Taking a look now at other news this morning, we're going to check in with our own Evan Narani, who joins us from the Weather Center with our morning look outside. Evan, good morning.
Good morning, Joshua. Yeah, it is a pretty dry start to the day. We'll be seeing some wet weather later on tonight into tomorrow, including the probability of some thunderstorms. Right now, the wet weather is mainly through central Washington. We've seen even some thunderstorms pop up over just the last several hours. It looks like as we move through the next 12 hours, we're going to make it to the upper 70s and low 80s. Partly cloudy, partly sunny. Going to be kind of a mix of sun and clouds out there, and enjoy the warmth for this afternoon because it doesn't last for too long. Your Saturday and Sunday both bringing along 60-degree temperatures, pretty chilly out there. Saturday and Sunday going to involve a chance for showers with widespread showers early on Saturday before they start to decrease on Sunday, but still cooler temperatures, overnight lows cooling down quite a bit, so just kind of buckle up for another wave of spring before we hopefully start to see more summer-like weather. We'll talk about if we see that in the 7-day forecast in just a bit, but for now, Joshua, I'll send things back over to you.
Thank you very much, Evan. 7:02 on the dot this morning, and in case you missed it, two brothers who had previously been reported missing out of Idaho have been found. Leo Heibel and his half-brother Gene Heckman were reportedly found safe yesterday in Lawrence, Kansas. Authorities issued an Amber Alert for them just last week after they were seen last in Rathdrum. Their mother, seen here, Mimi Heibel, has been taken into custody. Police in Idaho have also issued a statement thanking the public for all of their help. Taking a national look this morning, today marks the 4-year anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando, Florida. On that night, a suspect entered the busy gay nightclub at 2:02 a.m. and opened fire with semi-automatic weapons, killing 49 people and wounding many more. On that day, the Pulse shooting became the deadliest U.S. mass shooting in modern history. Today, Florida State will have their flags flown at half-staff, and the mayor has declared today to be Pulse Remembrance Day. Looking locally now, Spokane School District parents, students, and teachers have been anxiously waiting for what returning to school will look like when school starts back up in the fall. Just yesterday, the Washington State Superintendent did release guidelines that will continue to shape the practices and policies for all public and private K-12 schools. So this morning, let's welcome in our Shayna Walltower this morning with the latest on what you need to know. Shayna, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Joshua. The Spokane School District is receiving a Safe School Reopening Task Force. It's a framework to build on getting back to classes in the fall. Now, district leaders say schools will open this fall for in-person instruction, but the safety of their students and staff is their top priority. With that, physical distancing will be required, and students, teachers, and staff will have to wear cloth face coverings. And there are plans in place for increased cleaning and sanitation, both in classrooms and in other school facilities. Now, the school district is also partnering with the Spokane Public Library to offer summer reading for students continuing learning through the summer break. That program will be available to all SPS students. And summer school is also available for students who may be performing a bit below their grade level. It's also for students who have not completed all of their credits from this past year. Registration is open for the Spokane Virtual Learning Summer Program. It offers a variety of courses for grades K through 12. And the Summer Meals programs officially starts on June 22nd. Pickup will be at the same 24 grab-and-go sites where the school district has been providing meals during the school closure. Mobile meals, however, will not be available through the summer. And finally, all play structures at the schools are now open. The Spokane School District does ask that you continue to practice proper social distancing and remember to have your kids wash their hands after playing. Joshua.
Thank you very much, Shayna. 7:05 now this morning, and looking across state line now, starting tomorrow, Idaho will move into stage 4 of its statewide reopening plan. Of course, this is the last stage in Governor Brad Little's Rebound Idaho plan. All businesses in Idaho are allowed to reopen as part of this stage. And stage 4 also means that gatherings of 50 or more people are now allowed. Theaters, bars, and other larger venues where crowds can gather are also allowed to open. Large sporting events can operate under limited physical testing protocols, and work from home recommendations will be lifted as well. You can also start to visit senior living centers in Idaho. Now, even though Idaho is moving on to stage 4, Governor Brad Little says it is not time to forget social distancing measures.
We almost did not make it to stage 4 this week. Despite our incredible progress, there are still some in Idaho who are not practicing measures to keep themselves and others safe. Even if contracting COVID-19 is low on your personal concerns, I urge you to practice safe measures to protect others.
Now, the state's epidemiologist says there has been a surge in coronavirus cases in early June. She says this is due in part to the fact that there has been a statewide increase in testing. Now, for those of us who live in eastern Washington, yes, you can travel to Idaho during their stage 4. There was initially some confusion about this point during Idaho's stage 3 part of their reopening plan. Previously, out-of-state visitors from areas of high community spread were encouraged to self-quarantine for as many as 14 days. Now, in stage 4 of the Idaho Rebounds Plan, there is no mention of that recommendation for out-of-state visitors. For the third Sunday in a row, people will plan to take to the streets of Spokane to protest racism and call for police reform. Protesters are also now solidifying their demands for what they want that local change to include. So this Sunday's protest is scheduled to happen at the Lilac Bowl at Riverfront Park starting Sunday at 2 p.m. And the focus, of course, is a continued call for police reform. The specific points the protesters say they're asking from the city include rejecting the proposed contract with Spokane's police union, which is up for a vote on Monday, preventing the Killology training course from taking place with local sheriff's deputies, and a fundamental restructuring of the way that policing works throughout Spokane. Also happening today, Occupy Spokane has announced they are leading a moment of silence in front of Spokane City Hall at 3 p.m. They are calling it a general strike that will last for 8 minutes and 45 seconds in remembrance of George Floyd and his death at the hands of police. A group of 16 Spokane area elected officials have released a statement condemning armed militia groups that have been seen at protests downtown. The statement was signed by the entire Spokane City Council, Spokane Mayor Nadine Woodward, 3 state-level officials, Spokane County Auditor Vicki Dalton, and 4 Spokane Public School Board members as well. The statement reads in part, "We, as elected leaders from the Spokane community, declare that we oppose the presence of armed vigilantes who are roaming the streets of our city." 7:08 this morning, and national discussions this week surrounding the Confederate flag offer many of us a reminder that for some of us it is a painful symbol. This morning we connect the dots on the history and the controversy surrounding the flag.
As protests continue against racial inequality in America, a controversial symbol is getting new scrutiny: the Confederate flag. And it turns out the history of this divisive emblem isn't as straightforward as it seems. Let's connect the dots. First up, the Confederate flag isn't actually the Confederate flag. It was the battle flag of General Robert E. Lee and his Army of Northern Virginia. The Confederacy actually had 3 different flags during its short existence, and none was the stars and bars we think of today. For decades after the Civil War, it was really only flown by Confederate veteran groups during parades. The Confederate flag we know of today didn't take on additional significance until the 1940s. It was adopted as a symbol of the Dixiecrat Party, a group founded to oppose President Truman's desegregation of the Army. The head of the party, Strom Thurmond, said their platform was, quote, to stand for the segregation of the races. As the fight over segregation continued, some southern states like Georgia started incorporating the Confederate flag into their own state flag designs. And as civil rights protests raged in the 60s, South Carolina decided to fly the Confederate flag over the State House. But in recent years, support for it has fallen among mainstream politicians. Now, only Mississippi uses it as part of its state flag, and calls to get that changed have gotten louder in recent days.
Taking a look now at what's trending as President Trump continues to use Twitter to call Governor Jay Inslee and Seattle Mayor Durkan into action as protests continue throughout Seattle. We welcome back our own Shayna Waltower this morning with the latest. Shayna.
Yeah, good morning, Joshua. President Donald Trump's criticisms are related to the current protest in Seattle. Now, the president is demanding that Governor Inslee and Seattle Mayor Durkan immediately take back their city. Yesterday on Up with KREM, we showed you this tweet where the president said, in part, take back your city now. If you don't do it, I will. This is not a game. These ugly anarchists must be stopped immediately. Move fast. Now, Trump was referring to what Seattle protesters are calling the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. Now, the president is posting this message again. He posted the first tweet on Wednesday at 8:01 p.m. and the second tweet with the same text yesterday at 10:24 a.m. Now, the second time around, he sent this criticism of how the Seattle protests are being handled. He followed it with, anarchists just took over Seattle, and the liberal Democrat governor just says he knows, quote, nothing about that. Now, this comes as protesters have set up tents and blocked streets in a Seattle neighborhood in an area that they're calling, again, an autonomous zone. Joshua?
Thank you very much, Shayna. A situation we are keeping our eyes on here on Up with KREM. We appreciate your update this morning at 7:12 on the dot right now this morning. Still to come, if you've heard the claims that over 700 officers were involved and injured in D.C. protests, yeah, that's just one of the numbers we have seen floating around social media. So after the break, we take the question straight to law enforcement to verify the actual numbers.